working on something about Jihad and Dominic, their relationship. They kind of go way back. Did you know that they played Pop Warner together back in the day in San Diego?
Yeah, I did. They were probably both the same size back then, but one's outgrown the other now. So I think Dom probably got him.
I guess one was a fullback, one was a running back. What kind of backfield do you think that would have been?
Well, I think that's what we've tried to do linebacker-wise is get a bunch of quarterback and running back guys that we could turn into defensive players that move real fast, and those guys certainly fit the mold.
They're more or less the same age, but do you think Dominic has maybe learned a little bit from Jihad? Jihad having played a little bit more and kind of maybe more of a veteran in the playing sense.
Yeah, I mean Dom's got a trial by fire here this year. We're expected to have to play him, and with all the stuff that went on, he jumped in there and we got him. Once we decided to play him, he's taken to it, and I'm sure Jihad and Peyton and those guys have helped him out quite a bit. But he's a natural.
Did they help you guys kind of recruit the other one? I know they kind of knew each other back when they played against each other. Did you talk to both of them about the other player when you guys were recruiting those guys?
Yeah, I think Dez helped out, and Mason Vineyard was involved in that. They all live fairly close together, and we've got a good relationship with those high schools, Patrick Henry and Helix, and all those kids live basically in the same area. So it kind of all worked out for us.
What have you seen from Jihad that's allowed him to make such an impact and kind of had to do it early on with the injuries and was pretty steady throughout the year and is now kind of one of your top defensive players?
Well, I think being able to redshirt him last year and traveling was a big key. He got to see how those guys prepare, how those older guys go about their business, and he's very mature for his age. And I think he took to that. Some guys that travel, they just they're looking up in the stands and watching a football game, and he really tried to put himself in a position to get ready to play, and it's helped him this year when it happened.
I know he's kind of a speed guy, and I think it was a pretty good track athlete. What did you see from him recruiting him that allowed you to think he could become a productive linebacker and kind of be physical in that role?
Well, we just kept watching him. We as a defensive staff probably watched him 10, 12 times, and his size was something that we had some initial concerns about. But the more you watch film and game after game, he's just productive, and his size wasn't a detriment. His speed was unbelievable on the field, and he's really a productive guy. And finally, you just have to take great football players and take a chance on them, and it's worked out for us.
Did you watch any of his? I think he was a track athlete. Did you guys watch him all on the track? Or?
I never watched. Coach Grinch may have. I never watched his track stuff. You could see how fast he was when he played football. So that was kind of when it comes down to it, a football player is a football player, and he was a really good football player.
And how about Dominic? What did you see recruiting him that kind of convinced you guys to bring him up here?
Yeah, Dominic was at a school that didn't win as much, so we had to watch him a little bit more. But he was a running back. He was a kick returner. He was returning 100-yard kickoff returns. And then when you bring him in, you see the size of him, and you see the potential there. And just the way he goes about his business and the maturity he has. We could see that physically and mental toughness, he had the linebacker traits. It was just he hadn't played it much. So we've been really happy with how he's come along, and he's really a tough kid, and his upside's huge.
Did he play any linebacker in high school, or was he a two-way guy, cornerback?
He was actually a running back, wide receiver, corner. So we had to project a little bit there.
But what's the biggest thing you have to kind of fix when you bring a corner and then transition him to a more physical linebacker?
Yeah, any of those guys, from Dotson to Justice to that we've brought in, to Dom, they're just you have to have a tough kid, and then you have to train them how to be in there where it's happening really fast. And if they're not tough to begin with, it's hard to get them to be tough after they've gotten in there. So those kids all had toughness about them. They just hadn't played in there, and they had the mental makeup to be in there. And then once you see them in there, and you just get the banging of playing linebacker, that some can take to it. And those three have really done a good job with it.
And they both, just talking to both of those guys, seem like high quality character guys. Do they both come from pretty outstanding families too?
Yeah, great families. Jihad's one of his cousins actually played safety for me when I coached at Nevada. So good football family. Just love the game. And Dom kind of the same way. His dad was a football player. His dad was a coach, and went through Lincoln High School in San Diego, which is a really good football powerhouse down there. So they both had the pedigree to bring them in.
Where did Dom's dad play? Was he a college guy? Or?
No, I don't believe he was, but in high school was a really, really good program player down there.
And Jihad's cousin, you said
He was at
his
Inglewood
name?
High School. Yeah, Marlon
Okay.
Johnson. He ended up playing strong safety. Started for us for 4 years down there. Or when I was coaching at Nevada, was a really good player.
You talked to him about Jihad, but kind of during
I
the recruiting
did. Yeah, I
process?
still do. Yeah, he still takes credit for us recruiting him. So that's not true, but that's what he says.
Both of those guys seem pretty excited to come back home and play, and both are probably going to get some snaps in the Holiday Bowl and play in front of a big home crowd.
A lot of guys never get that chance. That's really cool for them to do it. And they're one of them was down there last year, and one of them watched us play down there last year. So now they're both going to be out on the field, and it's going to be fun for their families, for them, for everybody down in San Diego. They're going to be hot commodities to be watching down there.
Is it important that they have each other up here too? That they both leave their families and can kind of relate on the same level. That both from San Diego and maybe had to kind of go through some similar adjustments coming up here.
I think so. I think that's part of what goes on there, and I think my position guys, the older guys in my position, really take care of the younger guys and are real shoulders to lean on. So I think it's been good. But I think when there's something going on, somebody that you know and have known a long time really can help.
Yeah. Awesome.